Thanks, Ronnie. We're very excited to bring you a glimpse of our global support network. During this segment, I will give you a general overview of our network and will introduce you to some special guests who will share with you the work Bell has done on their aircraft, including kit installations. As many of you know, aeronautical accessories plays a big role at Bell, and we've invited some of our team members to join us today and give us a brief tour of the facilities, including an overview of the products and services. You'll even get a preview of one of our latest kits in the market, QuantaFly. You may have also heard we've recently moved our Miami facility to the Fort Lauderdale International Airport. We've invited Dave Birch, General Manager of the facility, to join us and give us an update on what's happening there. And finally, we'll finish up this segment with a roundtable discussion giving you an opportunity to ask questions from our team. So with that, let's get started. First off, Bell has more than 85 years in the rotorcraft industry. As you can see, we have a global support network. From maintenance to repair to overhaul to upgrades, we've got you covered across the world. In addition, you can get support from our customer service engineers in region, and you can also get technical support from our product service engineers as well. I'm now going to invite Julian Boucher, Bell's Aircraft Delivery Manager in Mirabel, Canada, and Owen Watkins with SureFlight, who recently had an IFR kit installation on his 407 GXI at our Mirabel, Canada facility to talk about the IFR kit installation, their experience, and the benefits of this kit. Gentlemen?
Hi everyone. Just to quickly introduce myself, my name is Julien Boucher, and I have been with Bell for almost 10 years. And since a few years now, I'm part of the aircraft delivery team, where my main responsibility is to manage the process to deliver new aircraft for customers all over the world. So I guess 2020 has been quite a challenging year in terms of COVID with regards to that. But on top of that, I'm also responsible for the coordination when the customers want to come back to Mirabel and bring their fielded aircraft back for additional modifications. So I had the opportunity to meet with one of our customers, Owen Watkins, only a few weeks ago. Hi, Owen. How are you?
Good, Julian. Good to see you again.
Do you want to talk a bit about yourself and talk to us about your background a bit?
Sure. My name is Owen Watkins. I'm the president and co-owner of SureFlight. We're in Coatesville, Pennsylvania. We're an aircraft completion company. We specialize on paint, interior, and avionics. I've been a pilot for 25 years now, and over the last 11 years, I've been flying helicopters. So once we started SureFlight, we did a lot of helicopter work, and I couldn't stand to be around them and not know how to fly them. So off with that. And I previously owned a 505 that we took delivery from Mirabel, and when that was sold, we went ahead and purchased the 407 GXI.
All right. Talked a bit about your pilot background, but can you talk to us a little bit about the special aircraft that's currently behind you?
Sure. The GXI behind me, we've dubbed that as the exclusive series by SureFlight. We took delivery in 2019. It was a green helicopter, no paint, no primer, just the factory green. Many of the avionics modifications weren't done yet, and the interior was a standard corporate interior. We've completely customized that. The interior is a blue color similar to the outside, and the styling of what we did was imaged after a Ferrari 488.
Yeah, and like I said, we met each other a couple of weeks ago because you brought the aircraft back here to get an addition or an extra installation. So you decided to install the IFR kit that we just recently released. So you're actually the first customer coming back from the field to have that kit installed. So just want to know what was the deciding factor for you to decide to have that IFR kit installed?
Well, we're located in the Northeast United States, and 2 seasons a year during spring and fall, we typically have low-hanging, low visibility, low clouds, and the IFR kit provides options. It allows us to either start a trip or finish a trip. As a fixed wing pilot as well, I know that typically those clouds are only 1,000, maybe 2,000 feet thick. So the IFR kit allows us to get above that, get up to the VFR conditions, and go ahead and do the trip. Also gives me a safety factor. I've done some cross-country trips where in the helicopter you're typically lower, you're below the clouds, and sometimes it makes an unscheduled stop or it pushes you lower than what you're comfortable doing. So the IFR kit adds that safety level where you can file IFR and continue on the way.
And what would you say to other operators who are thinking about or perhaps don't know that we have an IFR kit available for the 407 now?
Yeah, absolutely. You have to check it out. I'd encourage people to take a flight in an IFR helicopter. The 3-axis autopilot adds additional stability compared to the 2-axis autopilot. Again, the layer of safety, filing the IFR and flying IFR. I also have the secondary static source, the secondary pitot source, and the electronic standby. So it even makes a night flight a little bit more comfortable.
And how have you prepared more specifically to fly IFR with the 407?
So yeah, the IFR kit on the helicopter is half of the battle. The other half is pilot and pilot training. First piece of that is I reviewed the flight manual supplement for the IFR kit. On the acceptance flight, as you know, I had a chance to fly with Francois. We did a RNAV approach on the acceptance flight up there. And then just this past weekend, I had the opportunity to complete my instrument proficiency check with one of the local pilot examiners.
All right, so you made the choice to come back to Mirabel to have that kit installed. Can you tell us a bit about your experience working with the OEM and coming back here for additional installations?
Yes, the trip back to Mirabel, I have to admit, I think maybe you picked up on it, I was a little bit nervous dropping off a helicopter that has a paint job as custom as this and the interior as custom as this. But I really have to commend you folks on the care that was taken to protect the helicopter. Some of the pictures that you sent me, I couldn't have asked for anything more. I think just about the entire helicopter was wrapped up in protection, including the skids. So it was way more than I could have asked for. And as far as the actual work that was done, we haven't had a single problem coming out of that. And I know that there was a good bit of electrical wiring that had been taken out of the helicopter and had been installed. So not having a single glitch coming from the factory was very encouraging. When we got back to Coatesville, every one of my managers in the different shops, the paint shop, the interior shop, avionics shop, they all had a chance to look over the helicopter, and primarily they were looking, oh boy, what am I going to have to fix? And time after time, each one of them were just thrilled with the level of work, the level of care. They were blown away. They've seen other experiences with other OEMs, and it doesn't always turn out this great. So thank you.
Yeah, happy to hear that. And being the OEM here in Mirabel, we definitely felt pretty confident that we could do a good job with the installation. And I'm glad to hear that we met the expectations of you and your team. But I guess it was important from the beginning to communicate with you and have a clear understanding of what the aircraft configuration was going to be to ensure that we're not going to run into any conflicts with the configuration. So from the start, I want to thank you, Owen, for because we had a really open conversation, and that helped tremendously with achieving a high level, high quality of work. So when you came early October to drop the aircraft, you and I had the opportunity also to meet with the production people who were going to do the work. So I guess it gave everybody the opportunity to answer questions and make sure that we have a good understanding about what was going to happen with the aircraft. But I think what's more important is that it also gave us the opportunity to meet you before work starts, and the technicians could put a face on the aircraft. So it was not just like working on aircraft serial number 54877, but we were actually working on Owen's aircraft. So it gave us, I guess, a good mindset of, hey, let's make sure we take good care of that. And for sure, everybody was really impressed about the paint job and the interior work. So definitely we didn't want to damage that in any way. So I think that was also an important part of the whole process. Really want to thank you, Owen, for taking the time to be with us today. Thank you for your trust in Bell and your great sense of collaboration. It's always a pleasure to deal with somebody who is as knowledgeable as you are with our industry. And your good comments have, like I said, have been shared with the rest of the team here. And so everybody really appreciated the good words. So thank you again for your confidence in Bell.
Absolutely. I'm proud to be flying a Bell product, and I'm looking forward to putting this IFR kit to use.
Well, congratulations to the Maribel team for their work on the first retrofit install, and thank you, Owen, for being such a great partner and advocate of Bell. We are now being joined by Steve Mildenstein, who plays a major role in the 412 program, and Paul Oldenburg, who is constantly interacting and hearing from our Bell customers. They will share insights on popular kits and upgrades for the Bell 412, including a glimpse into future kit considerations.
Thanks, Chad. This is Steve Mildenstein. I've been at Bell since 1983, so I have a little bit of experience with the Bell helicopter product line, and we'll be talking about the 412. And let me introduce you to Paul Oldenburg. Paul?
Yeah, thanks, Steve. I'm on the other end of the spectrum as far as my employment at Bell. I've been with Bell for only 2 years, so I'm going to rely on Steve for his experience regarding the 412 and its rich history. And with that, why don't you start, Steve, by telling us about kind of the history and the legacy of the 412 over the years.
Well, Bell's probably best known for the Huey. You see those in all of the videos of Vietnam. And back in 1959, that's when the product line started. We call it the medium helicopters that Bell Helicopter produces. But in 1959, the Huey came about. It's been successfully and progressively improved. In 1981, the 412 actually was born from the 212 by adding 4 blades to a 212. And then even since 1981, the 412 has been improved for increased performance, better engines, more fuel, and all the way up to 1996 when the 412 EP came out. And then in 2018, we certified the latest generation, which is the 412 EPX. So it is a very popular, very now modern 412.
What are the biggest differences between the EP, the EPI, and now the EPX?
Well, the EP was an analog aircraft. The engines, the drivetrain, the fuselage were state-of-the-art when the aircraft was certified. But in 2013, we certified the EPI, which added a FADEC engine, which is the digital controlled engine, and a full glass cockpit. The aircraft then went into successful period, and in 2018 we certified the next generation, which is the EPX. It added a higher horsepower transmission, and the transmission itself added a 30-minute run-dry capability, and the combination of the new transmission and the additional horsepower that it could take, we increased the gross weight capabilities from the 12,900 pounds to 13,000 pounds with an empty weight, or for an empty weight for cargo carrying capability. So it is a significant increase over the 11,900 pounds max gross weight, which is what the EP was certified to.
So that's amazing that the aircraft has been in operation for that many years. And would you say that the majority of the fleet is still out there flying and in operation?
It's interesting you asked that, because over the years we've delivered over 15,000 of the medium aircraft that started as the Huey and is now currently the 412 EPX. Of those 15,000 plus aircraft, over 4,000 of them are still flying. The total fleet time is in excess of 29 million hours.
Wow.
So it's a testament to the durability and longevity of that particular airframe.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's amazing. I know that, when I think of the 412 and think of the Bell medium fleet, I think of it as a workhorse. It's dependable, reliable. And is there anything Bell is doing to keep those aircraft, in the air to increase their service life or the legacy program?
Yeah, absolutely. The 412, again, that's the latest generation of this, but the medium fleet in general, because it is a workhorse, it goes to work every day. It's probably, arguably, the most reliable medium aircraft that's in service today. But we realize that there are operators that need additional capability. We're currently in the development phase and this is it's an advance notice for people who are watching. We're developing a new glass cockpit for all of those older aircraft. We're looking at performance improvements. We are not going to let those operators set their aircraft down because it's no longer viable or usable. It's a great aircraft. It's a great workhorse, and we want to keep them flying.
Yeah, and going back to talking about some of the other competitors, how would you compare the 412 as far as its mission and capability to some of the competitors, just as far as its versatility and its size?
Well, because the aircraft has a long history, the industry itself has embraced it to where we have so many completed, designed, developed, and available kits for emergency medical services, for cargo operations, for hoisting, for search and rescue, even for, as I mentioned earlier, for VIP operations. Because the 412 has that history, the aftermarket industry has literally been created around the medium aircraft at Bell Helicopter. So it is super flexible. It can do multi-missions. I know we have some aircraft that do both presidential and troop delivery missions. It does both. So it is truly a multi-mission aircraft.
For example, one of the demos, we loaded up the aircraft with 9 passengers, the 2 pilots up front. We filled it up with fuel, and then we added 400 pounds of lead weight just so we could max it out at the max gross weight for takeoff. We took it up into the mountains, and the pilots kind of recreated some of their mission profiles and some of the ways they fly the aircraft. Not only with the increase in torque, but the way that the FADEX managed the engines. They were very pleased with the aircraft, and that was for the entire 7 agencies that demoed the aircraft. They all thought the world of the aircraft, and I think that we'll see some of those aircraft out here.
That's great to hear. The increase in horsepower, the increase in the reliability and the controllability of the FADEC engine and the glass cockpit. I am absolutely sure when they compare it to the EPs and the HPs that they're flying today, it is going to be such a significant increase for them, or improvement for them. It's going to be great. It's going to be good to see them out there.
I think one of the things too that, you know, like we started the conversation talking about, you know, how long this aircraft has been out there and flying. But when you look at the Subaru Bell 412 EPX, it's not an old aircraft. It's a brand new aircraft. You have, you know, all glass cockpit, brand new transmission, all the upgrades. The shell of the aircraft comes from an older aircraft, but it's a brand new aircraft. The customers are buying that aircraft and operating it for its ruggedness, its dependability, its durability, its ability to do multi-missions. You know, you can drop water with it, you can do hoist rescues with it, you can carry troops with it, you can do VIP, you know, transport with it. You can do a number of different missions with it. And it's going to get up in the air every day and go fly for you and go to work for you. So it's an incredible aircraft.
Absolutely. There's a lot of the operators out there on the West Coast that use our products. What other good stories do you have?
Yeah, I have several. I'll share a couple of them. And one of the other agencies, it was a sheriff's department, and they cover one of the largest counties, if not the largest county, out in this area. Their operating area is 11,000-foot mountains. It's you know, vast, desolate deserts that are up in high altitude, and they need a workhorse. They have some Bell mediums, but they're older single engine Hueys and 205s. So we, again, loaded the 412 EPX up with 9 passengers. We had about 3/4 of a fuel load on it, and we flew it up to the top of the highest mountain in Southern California, which is 11,500 feet. We flew it over the top of the mountain, and just below the summit, there's a little area where you can actually land, and it must have been close to 11,000. It was definitely more than 10,500. It was up there, and the aircraft, because of that increased performance, the transmission was able to land and take off at that high altitude, very heavy conditions, and it was a pretty warm day. Again, they were amazed with the aircraft, amazed with the capability, and they're on the list that they want to buy one. So we'll hope that they can get one.
That's great.
Yeah, another agency, another quick story. The pilot jumped in. This was a firefighting agency. They do a lot of hoist and rescue work in addition to their firefighting responsibilities. So he said, just the other day, I did a hoist rescue on this ridge line, and flying the 412 EP, I was at the very edge of the operating envelope with that aircraft. And so I want to see how the EPX will do. And so we loaded it up basically to recreate the mission weight, and we flew it up there. And he said the environmental conditions are pretty much the same as they were the other day. And he was amazed that extra 11% mass torque that you can pull with the aircraft. He said, this is easy. I was so worried that the other day when I was in the EP trying to basically get every little bit of the aircraft out to hoist this person out of the mountains. But with the EPX, I don't even have to look twice. The aircraft it's just a dream to fly. And again, they want not only one, but 2 of them. So we'll see if we can get to it.
That's even better. That's even better. Well, thanks, Paul. We really appreciate those stories. Appreciate your viewpoint and your experience with the 412, especially in the California area. So now to hear from Rafael Garcia and Gary Redfield about the 429.
Let's discuss a little about the 429 aircraft and its history.
So the 429 is a light helicopter that was designed to replace the Model 427. Development began back in 2005, and we received our certification from Transport Canada in 2009. To date, we have over 400 Bell 429s that have been produced and a global fleet that has reached flight hours exceeding 400,000 hours.
In 2011, we received a TCCA certification for an increased gross weight up to 7,500 pounds. We have delivered to more than 50 countries worldwide. The 429 was developed primarily for the EMS market, but has also proven quite capable to perform for the following missions.
So some of those missions are airborne law enforcement, corporate VVIP transportation, oil and gas, offshore, as well as wind energy, search and rescue, utility work, and underslung loads to include line patrols. So what missions are popular with the 429 operators, and where do you see them having the most success?
The most popular role for 429 is business and the private sector. This is followed by law enforcement and air taxi operations, as well as some of the EMS.
Okay, so what makes the 429 such a great VIP aircraft?
In addition to a stable, smooth rotor, the 429 boasts a smooth ride thanks to the live mounts and the Fram dampers underneath the cabin. These are effective in eliminating vibrations inside the crew and passenger compartments. Additionally, the 429 is a very spacious cabin that can accommodate up to 6 passengers in an arrangement of seat configurations.
In addition, we have a corporate interior that is available for MechAir VVIP Interior STC, which is the supplemental type certificate. Furthermore, the ease of ingress and egress on the 429 make it really ideal for the VVIP role. The helicopter is also available with skids and landing gear, wheeled landing gear. What do public safety and the HIMSS customers like about this aircraft?
Well, as I mentioned before, the cabin is the largest in class. Not to mention they also like the performance at altitude, as well as the single pilot IFR capability.
Also, they like the wide area augmentation system for those approaches. The dispatch availability with the 429 is second to none, and our clamshell doors and wide cabins make easy openings for us to get passengers in and out of. So can the 429 fly in inclement weather in all environments?
Yes, the 429 is equipped to operate in a wide variety of weather conditions. The helicopter can fly in hot and cold environments, as well as in inclement weather. It also has been tested as up to 10,000 feet on Colorado.
Oh, that's awesome. So what sets the 429 apart from the rest of our competition?
Well, again, as I mentioned before, the cabin is second to none, and it also is one of the fastest aircraft in its class. The ride, as I mentioned, is a very smooth ride, very comfortable, and the performance is, again, very excellent in high and hot conditions.
So what do you say that pilots, especially the HIMSS environment, what do they like most about the 429?
Well, in the HEMS market, they definitely rely on a lot of the performance in some of these very extreme conditions. They do a lot of search and rescue, and the 429 has definitely performed in those conditions. They also enjoy the smoothness of the ride. You're dealing with a patient a lot of the times, so the comfortability of the patient has to be ideal.
Yeah, I know I was over in Switzerland last year, and I had a really great experience talking with our friends at Air Zermatt, and they relayed to me just how much they enjoy that aircraft. So they said basically the comfort and feel, the stability in the air, the ability to have a stable and smooth ride when you're working with patients, plus that stable and smooth ride when you're transporting somebody who's in a critical condition certainly helps pay dividends in keeping them comfortable.
So what are some of the new kits that are available for the 429?
So we have a 429 lateral CG enhancement expansion kit. Basically, it will expand the envelope laterally for long line operations or hoisting, things of that nature that you would potentially have to hang out the side. Also, we have a 429 executive interior that we're targeting for Q1 of 2021. There is a Basic Pro upgrade kit. That upgrade kit features the new ACA displays. These displays are very dynamic, very bright, much improved reliability as well as clarity. Probably the most, the visual acuity plus the situational awareness that these new displays put out is really just going to help the pilots reduce their workload, stay focused. There are some automated features that will help you get out of trouble. So I can't say enough about this kit. The Spectrum EMS kit, as you can see, there's the new litter system. You can see it's a ready-to-go system installed inside the aircraft. There's a new crew barrier and protection kit that allows us to maintain safety between the pilots and the folks that they're transporting. As we continue both through COVID and through our future pandemics that we may have, this just adds an extra capability to these aircraft so the pilots can focus on what they're doing up front. As well as we have a standby instrument indicator. You can see it's a new LCD type. You may be familiar with the 3 instruments. Well, we've combined this down to 2. It's more in line with the PFD displays that you're probably used to seeing in modern glass cockpits. So also there is the ESG law enforcement and parapublic. This kit is going to make a big difference with our law enforcement. It's going to give them a ready-to-go operational kit that will, basically with minor mods to accommodate them would be much closer to an out-of-the-box solution. So now let's finish up by hearing from one of our premier customers in the HEMS industry. Spent some time with these guys, and I just want to say, don't take my word for it. Let's hear what our customers have to say.
My name is Gerald Biener, and I'm the CEO of Air Zermatt. Well, we are probably in one of the most scenic places in Switzerland, in the Alps, and the area of Zermatt, around the Matterhorn. You can see in the back. This is where we do our work. We do a lot of rescue missions and sightseeing flights, and we're very happy to fly here. Frankly speaking, 5 years ago, I don't think that we even thought to buy a Bell product. But we feel so good, and the efforts they made on the sales and marketing sector are incredible. Normally the products, they're on the market, and the sales manager, they just come by, they want to sell. And with Bell, we really had a familiar feeling. We even had a visit of the president and the vice president, so we really had the impression that everybody is listening to us. It's like you have been involved in the whole process. And when I talk about the Bell 429, it's like my own helicopters. Air Zermatt was one of the first helicopter companies using the Bell 412, maybe 25 years ago. And also there we had only good memories working together with Bell. With the Bell 429 now, we have regained our friendship, and we are very happy to have this beautiful helicopter here in the Swiss Alps. It is really a customer-designed helicopter, versatile, exactly for our operation. There's not much to say about development or what Bell could do better in future. They're doing an excellent job. The Bell 429, like it is there, it's the best helicopter I've ever flown, and I've flown a lot.
I'm Cleve McFarland. I'm with Bell and part of the business integration team with the marketing side. I'm pleased to announce that I'm joined today by Pete Erickson, the president of Truth Data Insight. We're here to talk about new kits and kit offerings from Aeronautical Accessories. Quantifly is one such kit being offered through Aeronautical, and the FDM services offered through Truth Data Insight. The unit is designed to pull the data directly from the ARINC 429 data bus, or for aircraft without an active ARINC 429 data bus, to utilize the inertial measuring unit and the GPS to compile its own attitude, heading, and ground speed and position data. Installation kit. The installation kit includes all the aircraft onboard components needed for the system operation. So out the box, it allows an operator to install a fully operational system. If you would look, you could see the box here. It's really a small. The entire kit is under 5 pounds, and you can see it's pretty lightweight. This is the Quantifly unit. This is the cellular antenna. Again, another very small component. And this is a GPS antenna, only needed if you're doing an analog installation. So in a nutshell, in the course of operation, the system writes the data directly based on the data source to the box. When the aircraft is on the ground, the system will connect to the cellular network authenticate the cloud, and after authentication, the stored data will be transmitted. If specified, the unit will also download any configuration changes, software updates that's needed. And once the power is removed from the aircraft, the unit will draw battery power temporarily just to log out from the cellular network and download. On the next startup, it will download any software update on the next power cycle. So the data file is sent to the cloud via the infrastructure and is stored and then picked up either by Bell or Truth Data for processing and display. With that, I'll pass the mic to Pete.
Thanks, Cleve. Well, I appreciate the intro, and we're very excited about the QuantaFly introduction because, as you alluded to, we analyze all that data that comes off of an aircraft and we turn it into actionable information for the operator so that you don't have to guess what is actually going on in the aircraft. You can see through our analysis and output what's actually occurring in the course of the aircraft's flight, both from an operational standpoint to improve safety, and then also, like we alluded to, or like you had mentioned, for training purposes, what kind of trends are going on in the use of the aircraft. So our big role, as we see it, is to take all this data that's coming off of QuantaFly and other sources in the aircraft and turn that into some actionable information. What does it actually mean to the operator? Because nobody really has the time or inclination nowadays to become a data analyst themselves. So one of some of the big benefits that we see out of this, from our perspective, it's the ability to get data off of the aircraft automatically. That's a big one. Where
I agree. Yep.
There's no maintenance task required to download the data file manually. So that happens behind the scenes automatically. And for some of our customers, the aircraft lands, gets back to the hangar, it downloads its data, and when the maintenance folks or the safety folks, whoever the representative is that's looking at the data coming off of the aircraft that we've analyzed for them, they come in the morning and they have the report there, and it's all an automated cycle, which frees up maintenance tasks, times, et cetera. And it really means a lot more to the air crew. If you can, as a pilot myself, I remember what happened on yesterday's flight,
right,
as compared to maybe what happened last month.
Right.
So it really does have a big impact on safety. The other big differentiator we see with this box is the ability to take digital data off of a data-rich aircraft and download it automatically, but also for the folks out there who have legacy aircraft, analog, whatever the term you want to use.
Like
right?
all the many 206s that are flying out there?
So if you've got a 206 out there and you want to participate in a program like this because you want to improve safety, or maybe there's an economic component of it, you want to see how you can make your operation more efficient. What we see is this box removes that technical barrier that a lot of folks who come to us, they say, hey, we want to implement an FDM program. And that's great. Can you give us the information on your aircraft? How is it configured? And if they don't have any data acquisition unit, any recorders, it's a big challenge for a lot of folks. How do we implement that program? And we see this as really being transformative in the market to be able to remove that barrier. I think another important point now, like I was alluding to, is really as a small operator, it can seem like a daunting task. How am I supposed to implement an FDM program if I'm a 2 or 3 ship operator?
Right.
Or maybe I just have one helicopter that I'm operating. And that's really what we help large operators like our shared customer,
right,
Air Methods,
yep,
but we also can help small operators implement a program, even an individual aircraft. And we have some customers who have done that in the past. And I think that's another key turning point where boxes in particular like QuantaFly and its capabilities will really help simplify the implementation of a program. Partnering with Bell to say we're excited about this is a big understatement, obviously. It to us represents a strong commitment from an OEM in the industry to improve safety, and from our perspective it gives us access to more folks out there to spread the word on being able to implement a program that can improve safety, and it's not a giant mystery.
Right.
It's not reinventing the wheel like we've talked about before.
That's right. And even from a customer service and support aspect, just having the data off, we'll know what the fleet is accumulating in flight hours, so we can be better prepared to offer, equipment and services as needed based on where the fleet need is developing. So there's a lot of benefits of having, the capability of a flight data recorder or a touch point that's automated back to the service and support and back to the operator's base of operation.
Absolutely, and as you were talking about that, it made me want to reiterate one point that to me is important from the Truth Data perspective is the customer's data is protected. This is not a case of just handing over operational flight data and getting nothing in return.
Right.
There are very strong controls and uses that are specific to this program, so an operator doesn't have to be concerned with what's being done with my data. How is it being used? Is somebody making money off of me? There's a trust factor, and that's a topic for more discussion as we go into the details of the program. But I wanted to reiterate that one important point that we've seen from Bell through this whole process is a commitment to trust.
Right.
That data is going to be handled appropriately by the part of, whether it's through Truth Data, through Bell, as you mentioned, and through the architecture that's being designed.
Right, and that's also part of the tenets of the Rotor Wing ASIS program, where the data and the data share it is the operator's data.
Exactly.
It's the owner operator's data. It's not any of the OEMs. It's not the part supplier. It's the actual owner operator's data. So
Exactly.
anything we share on that larger database will be de-identified just to help, with underscoring that point that we're not using the data as a punitive thing. And I know that is normally one of the sensitivity of operators to say, where is my data going? Who is seeing my data, and can it be used against me? And in this case, and all the pieces that we're putting in place is to assure the operator that is not the intent, and that's not how the data will be used. Well, Pete, we can sit and talk all day, but I think we've reached our allotted time. So thanks again for joining me today.
Happy to be here.
And I'm really looking forward to our partnership here. And I'll have to turn this over. Chad, over to you.
Thanks, Cleve. We're now going to speak with David Birch, the GM of our Miami Service Center. Hi, Dave. Thanks for joining us today. I noticed that beautiful hangar behind you. Could you give us a little overview of the new facility?
Absolutely, Chad. Our new facility is a little bit north of 31,000 square feet, and we've doubled our footprint basically from what we had at the executive airport.
And what can our customers expect when they visit the new facility?
We like to say new and improved. The amenities are far better than what we left behind. We have more amenities to choose from as far as lodging, restaurants, and importantly, if they're leaving their aircraft with us and flying back home, we can take them right next door to the airport.
Dave, why did we make the move to the Fort Lauderdale International Airport?
Two big reasons. One, we needed the space, and two, in South Florida, it's location, location, location. Moving down here, we enhanced our operational and flight safety. We gave our team a new and improved footprint to work from. And because we're in the hurricane capital of the world, we now have a facility that can withstand the Category 4 hurricane, allowing us to operate more smoothly through that season.
Okay. Hey, if have a customer fly their aircraft in and out of facility, can you kind of explain how they would do that?
Yes, we've negotiated a Bell standard arrival departure procedure with the tower, and it's almost painless, I'd like to say. It makes operations so much smoother operating out of here.
Pretty convenient and safe for our customers, I bet.
Beyond doubt. Absolutely, Chad.
So typically, how many customers do we see on a monthly basis in the region, Dave?
We tend to see actually 1 to 2 customers a day. When we're in peak season, yachting season, or the holiday season with all the snowbirds down here, we can see as many as 2 to 3 customers a day, depending on how the weather is up north.
What are some of the unique things the facility has to offer?
A couple improvements. The customer lounge is probably 3 times the size as the old facility, giving us some COVID separation, new furniture, better amenities, windows on the second floor overlooking the hangar so they can watch their aircraft being worked on in nice cool comfort in the pilot's lounge.
You mentioned COVID. Tell me a little bit about how COVID has impacted you and the workforce in the region.
Fortunately, it hasn't had a big impact. We've been following CDC guidelines along with local protocol. We've only missed 1 day through the past 9 months due to COVID. And our workforce has been adhering to the mask mandates, and we've only had 1 person out sick.
Excellent. Tell me a little bit how you work with the other Bell Service Centers.
We have a great relationship. Being part of the Bell family allows us to, I won't say get preferential treatment, but at least collaborate with Ozark, the Blade Shop, Piney Flats, Acadian Composites to make sure that if we need something, we just reach out and touch someone.
Great. Well, Dave, thanks for joining us today and giving us an overview of the new Fort Lauderdale facility.
Thanks, Chad. It's been my pleasure. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Dave.